Ableton have just released free step sequences that go with Ableton Live 12, and they are magnificent. I absolutely love them. And my favorite one is this one here that you're about to see. It's called Rhythmic Steps. It's a really great step sequencer for drums, particularly drum racks. We're going to just take a drum rack. I'm going to take my trusty old 707 core kit. The way it works is you can see these 4 tracks. You can see how they're laid out with those 4 blocks. Those blocks represent what you see here in the kit. So basically, if you say moved the block up here, those blocks would represent the samples in those. But for now, we're just going to take the standard 707 samples and let's just go through these color schemes. You can see here under chants, you'll see these yellow dots. And these yellow dots basically can be moved around. They represent the position that the instrument is in the drum rack. So this first one here will represent the bass drum. The second one will represent the snare. The next one will represent open hi-hat. And then finally, you'll get claps on the last one. It'll give you a probability that the step will actually happen. So for example, if we just select on the bass drums, about 50% possibility on all of them with your mouse, and then press space to get it going. There's about 50% chance it's going to play. If you definitely want them to play, you've got to move it up to 100%. But it doesn't hurt maybe to have a smaller chance of the kick happening on another step. For example, here. Okay, and the other thing you can do that I haven't said yet is you can set the length. So at the moment, you've got 16 steps in this sequencer. But say, for example, we want the snare only to be set to 8. We just type in 8. So what we're going to do is we're going to move that back to 16. For the hi-hat, we're going to try randomization. We're going to click the randomize steps. So you've got all of these at higher chances and you've got all of these at lower chances. Let's hear how it sounds. Okay, we can randomize as many times as we want. I think that one's not too bad. And finally, for the clap, what we're going to do is we're going to do something similar there. We're going to do that with the clap. Okay, so that's chants. Now what I'm going to show you now is alternative. So when you see these blue dots, these are the alternative hits in the drum rack. So for example, this one here will be another kick sound. This one here is going to be another snare sound. So you can see there's a snare here and a snare there. This one here will be an open hi-hat as opposed to the closed hi-hat. And finally, you have a rim shot. So let's go to the rim shot and we click out. Let's actually randomize the rim shots. Excellent. So that is how out works. But I think what we're going to do is also add some alternative hi-hats. These are open hi-hats. Excellent. What we can do now is we can take the alternative hi-hats and move them down by 5. So we've got 5 steps in the 16-step sequencer. That's pretty cool. Now we've got velocity. Velocity is really nice, particularly for hi-hats, and it's just randomized like that. I don't like them to be too loud. Then we have slide. Right now, we're not going to show you slide. I'm going to show you that a bit later. But slide is this MPE compatible sound thing, and it does work with certain types of drum kits and instruments, but it's not going to work with this particular core kit. So we're going to move on from that. Just wait till the end of the video. I'm going to show you how slide works. Then we have roll. Roll's definitely my favorite thing here. So the way roll works is when you select, say, this one here, it'll roll it up to 32 times per step. Have you noticed here, it's also rolling the alternative step. Let's do some rolls for the bass drum now. But I'm going to reduce the rolls for bass drum to 8. Just gives it a little bit more of a rhythm sound. Now let's go into a few other things here. So what we have is a re-trigger button and an auto trigger button. What can happen is the whole thing could go a bit out of sync after a while. So let's just listen to this for a while. And say, for example, we reduce this to 7 and this one here to 5. It might just go a bit out of sync every now and then. So when you click re-trigger, it will bring it back into sync. Or you can auto re-trigger, say after a bar or after 2 bars. I think that's pretty cool. The other thing we can do now, if we just go back to charts here, we can actually add a bit of delay in the timing. So let's just add a little bit of delay on the snare. Actually a lot, so you can actually hear it. You can actually mute some of these instruments. Let's mute them all and just stick with the drum so we can just hear the difference here. The other thing I wanted to show you guys was timing. Timing is kind of the way that you can shuffle the sound or add some swing. So what this does is it says on the first hit here, this is a length of 4, right? The first 4. Everything else will be at its default. The first hit will be played on the beat. The second one will be played either a bit faster or a bit slower or a bit behind the beat. So this is how we can add a bit of shuffle to the overall sound. Let's slow it down so we can hear a bit better. We can actually add the length 8 here. So you got all of them now moving like that. We can reduce the global amount if it's overly over the top. This is going to make it sound super crazy, is you can actually duplicate the track. Because it's all randomized, you're going to get some super crazy sounds, but I'm going to mute the kick. So let's just see how that sounds. Let's just start with the first cork hit. Now we're just going to add the second one. You hear a bit of phasing there and clashing, but overall, if you do change some of the instruments or you do change some of the settings, you can actually come up with some interesting sounds. So I'm just going to take away all of these chances that we had before. I'm just going to leave the bass like that. Now let's just take a listen. So now we've done that, we can add the bass to these rhythmic steps. We can just move that to this note here. Now let's start using the slide that we showed you a bit earlier, the MP slide. And let's randomize all these velocities. And let's add a roll here. Let's add it to 32 here. Speed it up a bit. A bit of reverb, firstly to the clap. And we'll add some reverb to these snares. Just remove that chorus there. So as you can tell, I'm having a lot of fun using the step sequencer. You can use it mostly for drum racks, but you can also use it for instruments. And I guess the limit is your creativity. What do you guys think of this? So if you're really enjoying Ableton Live 12, you're definitely going to love this new feature. Check it out.